So do I have to answer all the questions? Is that what the setup is here? Okay. Yeah, Dan.
No, it's actually. It is on? Oh, it is on. It's for the Foodworks group for the commercial rooftop farms. And I was going to ask, which you said that buildings with rooftops over 30,000 square feet are like financially viable. Does that mean they're like really profitable? Because I think I read on these like this was probably like a year ago that I was reading about these things, and companies that were looking to do it, they were projecting that it would take like 20 to 30 years to earn back the investment that they've put into it. And so for most of them, that wasn't a very appealing time frame because there were so many other options they could do with a rooftop that was way more financially viable. So has there been a lot of progress in that within the year?
Yeah, there's definitely a very slow return on investment for these farms. It's been articulated to us by most of the farmers as more of a social venture than a money-making scheme. They're definitely aiming to be profitable at some point, but the people who are involved in it now are more interested in, developing this sector than having a money-making business. That said, that's also sort of why some of these tax incentives and other incentives are needed to make these farms more viable financially in the future. 30,000 feet is more just a sort of ballpark estimate of what it needs to be profitable at some point in the future, usually looking at around a decade.
I wanted to check as well about the urban farming. Sorry. It's more a suggestion more than anything. You said that you'd narrowed down the sort of eligible buildings based on, in this case, the parameter of what you need to be financially viable to about 1,000 buildings. I saw that they're working on the interactive energy map where they are identifying all the buildings and how much energy is available through natural operations of this building. It would be great to see if you can overlap those buildings with the buildings that you guys have identified and see if you can actually somehow bring those two together, either for further research or that way you could actually reduce your operating overhead because the energy is being generated by the building that you're producing on. So.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the models for rooftop greenhouses is to put it on top of some sort of restaurant or a bakery and use the waste heat from the bakery or the walk-in fridge that's creating a ton of waste heat or whatever to actually heat the greenhouse, and use that sort of synergy for environmental benefits and to make it more financially viable.
And Kubi Ackerman at the Urban Design Lab is actually working with NYSERDA. Mm-hmm. He's actually in the process. I can speak loudly.
For the TV.
He's actually in the process of working with NYSERDA to assess energy efficiency issues as it pertains to urban agriculture, because this obviously is a barrier to small urban farms. So just to let you know that this is actually one of the things that he's actually addressing in collaboration with NYSERDA at this point. Yeah. Kubi Ackerman.
Are there any other questions?
Sorry.
Just give me 1 second.
I may have missed this before, but in your economic analysis of the viability for the green roofs, for the urban farming on green roofs, did they include potential energy savings from, say, energy costs during peak months in the summer and in the winter for air conditioning and heating?
We didn't have time to do that, but that was sort of one of the next steps that we suggested. Looking at quantifying all those different costs and benefits, both economic and environmental. Yeah, absolutely.
So the goal of the building selection that we made and the maps that we produced was not so much to actually create a map of all the roofs where urban agriculture on top of a roof would work, and not so much to compile information about every single one of those properties as to just give a sense of the orders of magnitude of space available and to be able to make some rough estimates as to how much certain policies would cost the city. The city has already mandated the creation of a database of suitable properties. That hasn't come out yet. And just tying into this lack of streamlined and consolidated information, there's a lot of city information floating around about different properties, but very little of it is consolidated in a way that would be helpful to urban farmers. As to speaking to things like energy efficiency or structural suitability of these buildings, that information is not accessible, it's not consolidated, and some of the other cities that we've looked at, like San Francisco, has a really great, easy, accessible online database of different properties and just about any information you need to know about it to assess its viability as an urban farm. So mostly what we've been looking at is just estimating areas and costs.
Okay, well, I guess what's most enjoyable about this is to just see the incredible broad diversity of projects that are being worked on here. I think we had a really nice mix today between New York-based, or regionally based, which is what we've traditionally been doing, and this international work that we've doing thanks to Michael Steckler. I guess I should add, at least the capstone folks are all going to be presenting these projects in more detail to the actual clients. None of the clients, I think, were here today. So this is we do have a client? We have a client's rep. He's not a client. But we have, so they are going to actually be making these recommendations and lengthier presentations to the actual FoodWorks and other groups as well. So anyway, I just want to, putting this workshop together on all ends is a lot of work, a lot of organization. I want to thank at least my TA, Eileen Quigley, and Michael, your TA is Dan? Dan. And then, of course, Natalie Unwin-Kurineri, who has been with us from the beginning, is actually brainstorming with us all the time as to how to tweak and improve the workshop. I usually thank the clients in some fashion for giving us their problems to work on. But then I'll just thank all the students for all this hard work you've been doing, and it's really exciting to see it coming to fruition at the end. So enjoy some of the food, and we'll see you soon.